Welcome back to Modern Art Blitz. I'm your host, Matt Gleason. In the Sketcher seat, Aliza. How you doing, Aliza?
Oh, you remember now. Good job.
So, how you doing?
Good.
Good. What'd you have for lunch?
Oh, BBQ.
What'd you have for lunch yesterday? We had so much leftovers from yesterday.
BBQ.
Wow.
BBQ forever. You're all obsessed with Texas now.
See, I went to Texas for the Dallas Art Fair. Loved that fair. Did great. And you know, I might have eaten a little barbecue along the way and came back to LA thinking I should have some more. Big difference between LA and Texas barbecue, though. Ooh. So, my guest right now is a veteran of the Los Angeles art scene. I met him 25 years ago this December. And I want to talk about the project that he was doing 25 years ago at the end of this month. And that gentleman's name, the legend, Seth Kaufman. Seth, how you doing?
Good to see you.
Seth's taping me.
I am.
As we speak.
Yes.
So
which is the project I'm doing now.
Is that your project? I'm your project.
Yeah,
You're my
exactly.
project. I'm
Exactly.
your project. Okay, so Seth, tell me, 25 years ago, LA riots. What happened?
Yeah, sitting at home working on a piece, talking to a friend on the phone, and we're both watching TV. We're both at our individual homes across LA, and we're watching the television, and this thing starts to unfold. And we ended up spending the entire day watching TV and being on the phone together. It was, I don't know how it relates, but it was one of the most intimate experiences of my life, just having my friend so deeply connected to me and watching the same things and looking out my window and seeing the plumes of smoke arrive around the city.
Wow.
And it was scary. It was very scary. It was a very difficult time.
And what part of town were you living in at the time?
I was living like Hollywood and like La Brea, in that area.
Oh, a little safe from the actions, although it came up Vermont.
Well, yeah, and in fact, a lot of this, I started going into the buildings, burnt out buildings, and collecting materials, and one of the ones was right on Sammy's camera.
The infamous, the legendary Sammy's camera.
Yeah, I spent a couple of days in Sammy's camera.
This was back when you still had to buy films.
Yes.
Film, and it had sprockets in the camera and
Yes,
stuff, and
exactly.
you scavenged the burnt out Sammy's camera.
As much as I could get.
Yeah. And from that, you made some amazing art.
I made artwork for a year until the day.
You had art supplies to last a year.
Yeah, exactly. And I put things together, and it was, I mean, very much an imperative. You know, I couldn't think of what else to do.
Look at the monitor here. Is this some work from that?
Yeah.
Okay. What do we have here?
The one on the left there is reach out and torch someone. And at the time, there was a TV commercial for Pacific Bell called with a jingle, reach out and touch someone, right?
Okay.
And I found a burnt out telephone pole that had a big hole in it. And I had a white truck at the time, and like a work truck, and I got a red vest and a construction hat. So I could cross these police barricades and, you know, go into these really dangerous environments where there were workers clearing things out, and they thought that I was one of them, and I was literally carrying out these big things. And the screws that are on the side of it came from an upholstery shop that I started excavating through the rubble, and found this box of screws, and this guy came over to me, started yelling at me, really, really violently. I was backing up and putting my hands up, but I thought he was gonna attack me, and he said, "We've been violated enough." And I said, you know, I was here yesterday collecting things, and I found a portfolio of 1950s photographs. I'd like to bring it to you. And he stopped cold, sober, and he took out his card. He said, "Please call me." And I called him the next day, met him back in this rubble, and I handed him this portfolio of 1950s photographs. And he started crying.
They were of him?
They were of him from his cotillion with his wife when they were like, you know, teenagers in Cuba. And they were dancing and dressed up together, dating, and they became married and had stayed together all these years. He explained to me that that was the only thing they took with them from Cuba
Wow.
when they left as political refugees.
Wow.
And
You did a good karma thing there.
well, you know, it was, it was complicated because I was invading people's wound. At the same time, I was, bringing light and life to salvaging this thing.
What's the piece on the right over there?
That was just a film canister that the actual film, melted film celluloid, I reassembled and glued back into place, and that's called reel to reel.
Wow.
R-E-A-L.
Wow, reel to reel.
Reel.
Oh boy.
Yeah. I tried to come up with.
Oh, you got a little poetry there. There's no
Poetics.
shame in
There's a
poetry.
little
Oh man, I'm so sick
poetics.
of untitled composition.
Yeah.
Number 14. Ugh. Okay, well let's move on because you got a lot to show us, and
I
you're
don't know
more
that I do.
you're more than just the Riot artist. Let me tell you. So I'm very familiar with this series. You started making work with paint chips.
Yeah, this is paint chip number 14.
Okay, and what kind of paint is this?
Oh,
That was so bad. I didn't. Oh man. What's the poet?
First of all, we go way back because,
yeah.
because at the end of that year, I curated a show at the LA Art Fair.
LA Art Fair.
And it was 93, which was a year after the riots, and I pitched a show to them, 3 views after curfew.
Yes.
And I did a photographer, a painter, and a sculptor.
Yeah, and
myself
you were the
being
sculptor.
the sculptor.
And they took it.
And they took it, gave me this $10,000 booth, or whatever it was at the time, and it was this major real estate, and people thought I was a gallery.
Oh yeah.
They didn't know that it was a curated statement.
From zero to superstar.
It was pretty wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
That's the
pretty
art world.
wild.
Got an extra 10 grand.
And
you
then
too.
we met at there with you just starting out with Coagula.
I was
right?
publishing Coagula about a year then. Maybe a little
you're
more
right.
than a year.
Yeah,
I started Coagula a month before the riots.
Oh wow!
So-
but this LA Art Fair, I remember kind of being a big moment for you.
Oh yeah,
that was
because
like
we
you
had
were
a
just
booth
coming
for
out.
the first
Right,
time.
right.
It was like,
you were going big time.
They gave us a free. They're giving everybody a free booth. All these suckers are paying for them. I don't know.
Well, it worked for us.
Yeah.
And then we met at. We ended up going to a party at Stuart and Judy Spence's house.
Stuart and Judy's pizza party.
Wonderful pizza party at this fantastic house and custom home
Custom made in Pasadena.
In Pasadena, and years and years and years later, that Reach Out and Torch Someone ended up in a show in Orange County at 100 Artists See Satan, which was the
Artists See Satan.
which was the
Wow.
answer to 100 Artists See God.
God, yes.
In the other venue, right? And they put that piece in, and Stuart and Judy Spence revisited it like 15 years later and bought it.
Wow.
And it's been in their home ever since.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's the continuation connected to you.
So here's more paint chips.
Paint chips, yeah.
So what do you just take? How do you make the paint chips?
I'm walking down the street one day and I'm looking up at this wall and I see this peeling paint day after day after day. And one day it just came into focus as our blind spots typically do. They're just like right there. And I thought, art making material. And I had been thinking about redemption as it relates to materials, as it relates to creation. And I think I'd always been curious about materials that had very little value, or actually to find materials that are a liability, that are actually negative value. That's difficult. And I had been collecting eggshells and things like that, things that have little value, things that are discarded. And finding value in them, but paint chips, lead-based, difficult to get rid of. And I thought, wow, this is pretty exceptional. And I started peeling the paint chips and gluing them together, and that led to an extensive, many years of working with paint chips.
And they're delicate, and yet these are beautiful pieces.
They're sort of like the combination of a insect nest meets a flower, something really torrid and frightening.
You speak so purty.
No, thank you.
Let's see what else you brought today.
All right.
Yeah, we got a great survey of your art ahead here. Well, this is just like a transfiguration. What's this?
Those are, that was at the 20th anniversary of the Armory Center for the Arts, where they did 20 artists who had shown at the Armory, Bruce Nauman and all these incredible people over the 20 years, and they wanted to do a survey, and I had technically never shown there, but I had. I know, but Jay, the curator, said, you know what, you've been integral to the Armory and actually built all the walls.
Oh, okay.
And though
okay.
technically you hadn't shown your art,
Okay.
you are literally
the drywall master.
you are the guy who made it.
Okay.
You know,
You
so
made
we're
what
going to
we are.
qualify that. And I typically don't work in 2D, and I had a child in the period of that time, got married, and we had a baby, and somebody sent me a link to a high school friend who I had connected with on Facebook. You know, everybody could see Facebook, and somebody who connected with me I hadn't spoken to since high school said, hey, you're living in LA, I'd love to get in touch. And I said, hey, that'd be great if you're in LA. Somebody else contacted me and said that person was convicted as a pedophile.
Oh, great.
And I just wanted to let
Love
you
those
know.
old friends on Facebook.
Just wanted to let you know. I see they have a child. We haven't connected since high school. And here's the link where you can see it. And I go to that link, and you can put in, look for that. And
Okay.
indeed, I found that it was true.
Woo-wee.
And I don't know what the circumstances were. And
Lucky
but,
for Facebook Block, though, you don't have to find out anything else.
well, what I did was I typed in my own zip code, and there were 30 pedophiles that lived in a 1 mile radius of where we live.
Ain't modern life grand?
Well, life is life, and probably what it did is, my first thought was, I'm going to do something about this, because the Armory Center for the Arts is not only a world-class exhibition space, it's also a world-class arts education
For younger kids.
for
yeah,
younger
yeah,
kids all the way up, from preschool all the way up, and unbelievable facilities. So I wanted to bring that into that space and my experience. And I started out with very sort of broad strokes and thought, I'll represent their faces. And I'm like, I don't want to out a bunch of people. That's not my job. What I ended up doing through a lot of distillation, a lot of poetic gesture, is I scanned all 30 of their faces and learned some morphing program, and I morphed all 30 of their faces into one composite face.
Okay.
And then I represented that face 30 times. So you get to see the quantity, but not the individual, and it becomes the every person.
It could be anyone.
It could be anyone. And the piece was called Touching Neighbors. And the idea with that is really that the person who could reach out on a very, very bad day and hurt someone is the person who could reach out and help someone on a very good day. And that the percentages were so consistent as I started looking that I just thought, I don't know whether it's modern life or whether it's just part of the human condition that it's deeply embedded. And then the material was ceiling popcorn. And I came to ceiling popcorn I cut a template of the face and then sprayed ceiling popcorn through it to represent the experience and the view of somebody who might be in a very bad situation. And it became very elegant, and I thought, look,
real quick,
lovely. Go.
We got an Instagram photo, your Instagram series of peanut butter and jelly sandwiches here, epic. How many did you do?
I'm up to 400 over 6 years.
400 peanut butter jelly sandwiches, each sliced in a unique pattern.
Yeah, they're all different. They're cut on my mother's cutting board from the 1950s that she raised her family with.
What's the best peanut butter?
Trader Joe's. I prefer chunky, but it's easier to cut smooth.
Okay, and then jelly?
Trader Joe's. Sorry for the plug.
Sorry, Whole Foods. I'm so ashamed.
No, it's really the organic raspberry or strawberry is fine. And
really?
I make them for my daughter. I had been making them.
She likes the different shapes?
I don't know that she really notices because she's never known anything different.
Okay, it's
They're
always
not
a weird
exceptional.
shape with Dad.
Yeah.
Dad, it's another shape.
Yeah, it's just whatever.
Okay, while we've been talking,
Yes,
someone's been drawing you.
I love this.
The Skechers seat.
Yes.
Wow, this is a good one. Ladies and gentlemen, from the Skechers seat, we have Seth Kaufman. Seth, my friend of 24, almost quarter of a century.
And I have a show right now.
Tell me about your show.
At the Situation Room.
The Situation Room, wow.
The Situation
Great.
Room with Nicole Hebron.
Oh, wow.
It's her private space.
With a lot of cactus in the back.
It's fantastic.
It's
really beautiful.
If they get hacked, I go to my place. It's funny because the difference between me and Nicole Hebron is my house, I have a lot of cactus in the front, and she has a lot of cactus in the back.
back.
But I was walking in the backyard. I'm like, this looks like my front yard.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's an honor to show with her and
So
through her
you're going to be
eyes.
showing, is it April?
It's currently going, and it'll be through April 30th.
Through
is the
April
last
30th.
day. Yeah.
Wow. Well,
and it's by appointment only, and anybody can go to the Situation Room
yeah.
on Facebook and
It's
get
so
the
easy to
information,
find, yes.
or contact me.
And look for the cool cactus garden. You'll see it. Seth Kaufman, my friend for a quarter of a century and a great Los Angeles artist. Thanks for being my guest on Modern Art Blitz. We'll be back right after this.